Alright, everyone. Today I am here with another election prediction. Later today I'm going to be posting another video, so stay tuned for that. Um, but I'm just going to explore the easiest way for Democrats to win the White House. So in my last video, I talked about how Trump could win the White House. So now we're going to discuss how Warren could win. She's, at this point, probably the front runner, so um, we'll just go ahead and give her the safe states. In fact, for the sake of this election prediction, I think we'll actually start by giving her the Clinton states. So, Warren gets the Clinton states. Now, Trump, let's go ahead and give him states. She probably isn't going to be expanding into some of these places, so we'll just give Trump some of the safer states for him. Actually, I will talk about Iowa in a second. So, there you go. Where is the easiest pathway for Warren to win? Well, it's pretty obvious. The Rust Belt. So, if you look at these states, in 2018, they all had elections, and they all sort of went back to the left. They kind of snapped back into place with where they've historically stood, which is more with the Democrats. So, if you look at these three states, the easiest one for Warren to win right out of the gate would be Michigan. It's after Minnesota, it's probably the bluest of the Rust Belt states. It has two Democratic senators. Of course, the Democrats won every statewide race in the Rust Belt in 2018, so they've demonstrated their ability to win the Rust Belt. And basically, the attitude the Democrats now have is, this was a one-time thing. Trump winning the Rust Belt in 2016, the Republicans performing well there in the Senate races in 2016. The Democrats are basically saying this was a one-time thing. We can still win the Rust Belt. Now, there is the direct Rust Belt up here, and then there's kind of a lower Rust Belt, which is Illinois, Ohio, Iowa. Of course, Illinois is a safely Democratic state, but there's still Iowa and Ohio left. So, could Warren win either of those? Well, maybe. It's more likely, though, that she could win these states. Now, Wisconsin is interesting. Tammy Baldwin won this Senate race. The Democrats flipped the governor's race. Wisconsin and Michigan had Republican governors, and those flipped. So, if the Democrats perform like they did in 2018, yes, Warren can win Wisconsin. Pennsylvania. Can Warren win Pennsylvania? Well, here's the thing. She may not be the greatest candidate for the Rust Belt. We know that. But she wouldn't be an awful candidate either. And Pennsylvania's kind of in the Northeast too, somewhat close to her home state. She could have a little bit of an appeal there. So Pennsylvania is definitely still within reach. And of course, again, you look at 2018. Tom Wolf won the governor's race. Bob Casey won the Senate race. So Pennsylvania is potentially shifting back to the left. So could you see Warren win? Well, if you could see Warren win Wisconsin, she could definitely win Pennsylvania because Wisconsin gave Trump his largest margin of victory. So if Wisconsin's blue, Pennsylvania could be as well. So these states flipping, that's all she needs. That's 278. So the Democrats, if they win, this is basically the path they're going to take. There's just not really much of another way to do it. You could maybe see them dropping a Rust Belt state and winning something like Florida or Arizona, but that's not extremely likely. So what we'll do from here is say, what else could Warren potentially win? Well, let's look at the Southeast here. Florida is a possible Warren pickup. Possible. Georgia, maybe. Georgia's been shifting to the left. Honestly, these three states, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, could honestly all go either way. I don't really want to say a winner. But for the sake of this, for the sake of where things stand right now, I would say Warren probably is not going to win Florida or North Carolina. Now, Georgia, I'm still not sure. Arizona, she could actually pick up Arizona. You know what? Actually, I'm going to leave Florida blank for another minute. I'm going to come back to that one. Arizona, she could definitely win that state. When you look at it, it is shifting to the left. The Democrats won the Senate race there in 2018. She could win that state. She could also win Maine's 2nd district. This is another thing that could be like the Rust Belt. It could be kind of a one-time thing. Florida. I actually take back what I said earlier. I think Warren could win Florida. In fact, I think it's more likely than Georgia or North Carolina, at least right now. So that gives her 319. These other three, I'm going to say, are going to go to Trump narrowly. And really, they could go either way, but for the sake of filling in every state, I'm just going to give them to Trump. So I would say 319, 219. This is a little less than what Obama had. She still wins by 100 electoral votes. So this is probably a best case scenario. If Biden's the nominee, he could win a really substantial margin. But if Warren's the nominee, it may be a little bit more close.